another edition of the new Down and Back Cornhole podcast, and I couldn't think of a better person to start this off with than one of my bucket list guests. Let's see if I'm going to point the right. I'm going to point the right way this time. Big Bert Blackwell here. Bert, welcome to the show.
Doug, thank you for having me, man. It's a privilege to be here.
Well, like I said, you're one of my bucket list guests because when I first got started in cornhole, was 6 years ago now, I was told if you want to know anyone in the cornhole world, especially on social media, friend Bert Blackwell, because he knows everybody.
I hear that a lot. I actually had someone tell me yesterday at a regional event that, hey, we want to play a couple of cash games. I don't know anybody. You know everybody.
Yeah.
So it took, all I had to do was look over and go, hey, you guys want a cash game? Cash game.
Well,
so I do know quite a few people. Quite a few people. I had to, I was fortunate enough to travel around a couple of pro seasons and got to know quite a few people. And I don't need many strangers, especially cornhole.
And like I said, everybody knows you, and you've got it's. And we were talking off air. I think you're Mr. ACL for me because in all the broadcasts I watch, it's always your front row and you're giving someone a high five after a big shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So
I enjoy. There's a lot of people that leave after their games are over. I enjoy hanging around, till the end because, well, my games are already over. But watching to see who wins, I enjoy hanging around, watching the big games, especially if there's some of the, we'll say the top 25 guys are up there playing in a big match. I enjoy staying and watching them play for sure.
Well, and I find that's one big thing, especially we're still new up here, but when people are done, they just leave. And it's not, you like getting that atmosphere, but just stay and watch. Maybe you might learn some stuff or just to stay and have some fun meeting new people.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's probably should be more acceptable at a local blind draw or something like that. But when you're at a pro event, especially if you are a pro, you should hang around and support the organization, support if there's a broadcast, support the broadcast and support the other players.
So exactly.
I think it's important.
Oh yeah, and I know I'm a big supporter of that because we even did a live feed here at one tournament where I think there was like one person that stayed to watch the finals. I think after because everyone had been gone, it was a long day, and you can hear their comments in the background, which were kind of colorful at times, but it's just you need that atmosphere.
Right, that's right. Well, it does. It creates an atmosphere of excitement. If it's a television broadcast and the stands are packed. And the viewing audience can see that, there is an audience and there are things going on. It's not just players out there playing on the boards by themselves. And that's what the sport needs to continue to grow.
Well, I feel the same way. So talking about the sport growing, let's kind of reel it back. How did you get your start in cornhole era? Because I think probably like everyone else in the backyard or at some social event.
Absolutely. Well, actually, my wife got me into cornhole. So when we met back in 2012, she introduced me to some friends that played this game called Cornhole. And, I've played sports all my life, baseball, football, basketball, I've played them all. And I grew up kind of playing horseshoes. That was what we did for, fun, I guess. I had a bunch of brothers and sisters, so we had a large family, and there was always a horseshoe pit around. So we go over to a friend of hers, and they're playing in the driveway. And I'm like, man, this is cool. It's a lot shorter than a horseshoe pit. I'll give it a shot. And I started out, the way they were playing, I started out way ahead of the curve. So, my wife got me into it. I had a guy that we were playing there with, Tom Skidmore. I call him my original cornhole partner. But Skid, kept me playing. We played in another organization for a couple of years, and he just he didn't hang on to it as much as I did. And I've been playing since 2014 competitively, and I still love it. I'll play every day if I can find a spot to play. It is not, it has not worn me out, and I have not, my patience hasn't worn thin with it. I still love the game. I still love the people in the game. So that's what got me started. That's where I'm at with it. I still love it.
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of people up here start or come from playing horseshoes to
Right.
cornhole. I know my regular partner Corey, his father uh, came from horseshoes to playing cornhole. He still throws his bag like he's throwing a horseshoe,
Sure.
and so for us, this whole roll shot that came in, we've been seeing that for 6 years because the way he throws his bag, every shot is a roll shot for
It's
him.
automatic.
We just ended up calling it the Dicky roll because
Yeah.
that's his name's Dicky. He's throwing a roll shot, so it's like So when everyone came, was like, oh, there's this new roll shot. We're like, we've been seeing that for years.
Yeah, that's old news. That's old news, baby.
Yep.
But
Yep.
there
Well,
are some kids these days that, man, they have perfected that thing.
I know. Jamie Cowan, JC Cornhole, sponsor of the show. When I'm up at the garage throwing with him, he's trying to invent new shots all the time, and I'm just like, just let me play by myself then, because it's just
Yeah.
you're killing me.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna subscribe to the Matt Guy style of cornhole. I'm just gonna try to put them in the hole. If you block me, I'm either going over. I'm gonna try to push through it and keep right on going. My technique's bad enough without trying to roll and flop and do all this other stuff. I have a hard enough time just keeping it straight. So I'm gonna have to stick with the basics.
Well, exactly, yeah, and I think if people watch back to my game with Trey, I think they know that I even have a tough time with the basics as well too. But I'm hoping to get him back when he comes back up here. But
There you go. Get him back on the home turf.
I'll try. He's, like I said, he's more used to the lights and the cameras and stuff, and
Yeah.
I've just got to try and hit the board sometimes.
There you
But
go.
so we talked about you being at all these ACL events and that. Do you have like a player that either before who's not playing as much now, or do you have like that one go-to player where you always want to be around for watching them play?
When I first started going, my first ACL event was actually the World Championships. I went to the World Championships in Cherokee, and I knew some of the players from playing in different organizations and just playing around a little bit. But one that kind of grew on me, and we play in the same conference. We play in the Southeast Conference, is Cheyenne Renner. I remember watching Cheyenne when I first started seeing her come onto the scene. She was good. She was nearly as consistent as she is now, but I just love to watch her play. She has such an effortless throw. Her accuracy is, to me, just unimaginable. She throws the bag down the middle. She has an awesome airmail shot, and I've watched it a dozen times. I was there when it happened, but man, her losing out as a singles world champion was tough to see. Man,
Mm-hmm.
she deserved it. She earned it. Trey walked away with it, but she earned it.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, it's almost like she has it's almost like when you watch her, she has no fear at the boards. She's
That's
just
right.
like you said before, just gonna throw that bag, put it in the hole.
Yeah,
Is that all she's looking for?
she may be, doing backflips on the inside, but on the outside, she is just as focused and ready to play as ever. Anytime you watch her play, she has the same expression on her face. She goes through the same mechanical motions. It's just, to me, she's just fun to watch.
Well, exactly. Well, I'm thinking with you being in the Southeast Conference, I think almost probably every tournament you go to is a World Championship tournament because there's so many great players in that Southeast Conference.
You're exactly right. We draw them from Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia. But I mean, you pull all just the Florida pros together, you have a stacked team.
Yeah.
Stacked team. We have Noah and David Searle and those guys. Hopefully, I'm gonna get back on that list here in the next year or so. But I just got to get back to playing. I got a couple of grandkids and stepped away from the game for a little bit, but Big Bert's not done, brother.
Well,
I
I can't wait to see you back.
Huh?
I can't wait to see you back playing.
Man, I'd be excited. I'd be excited to come back today. But I will. I will try. I'm gonna try next year to run through the point system, do the regionals and that type of stuff, make some opens and get my points, and see if I can make it. I'm if I have to run through the qualifier, I'll run through the qualifier. But I'm gonna give it another shot. I'm in the seniors division now. I finally hit 55, so I can play with the old guys too. It gives me another division to play in.
Well, now you just got to play against Damon Dennis a bit more.
That's right. That's right. I got to find me some more seniors here to play with locally. Look, guys, y'all got to step up because I got some stiff competition that's going to be coming my way.
Well, that's the one thing that our players up here have found, and COVID has kind of helped us get more players up here in Canada because I mean say help, but just that whole virtual game and just really nothing else to do. People started playing cornhole. So with a lot of people starting there, they've kind of been able to do the virtual stuff, thinking they're really good, and all of a sudden they've now gone down to some of the tournaments in the States, and it's a brick wall at some point.
That's right. It's like stepping back into reality.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I keep saying I played Ryan Smith when I was down in Cherokee in 2018 in a game, and if I would have scored 21 more points, I would have had a shot at beating him. So
there you go. You weren't far away.
Yeah, yeah.
I was doing it there in 18. That was my first tournament, and I was playing at that time was Andrew Langworthy, and man, he just crushed my dreams. He was tough. But that's you don't sharpen the sword on butter. So
exactly.
You got to find steel. Those guys are steel.
Well, and I look back at that 2018 World Championships, and I think that was probably one of the real breakouts for the ACL. Like in that, like almost say 2017 to right before COVID, where there was so many great matches, so many great players who made it to broadcast games.
Right, there were. Back in the 2018 World Championship, I got the opportunity to watch the James Baldwin, Jordan Langworthy finals, and it cracked me up. Jordan didn't have any bags, so he goes and grabs. He asked Shelby if she had any bags. She said, "Yeah, I have some pink ones." So he just picks up an unknown set of bags and goes off and and takes them home. I'm like, man, I can't do that. I don't have that. I don't possess that ability. I don't think. Just to grab another set of bags, especially when you're used to playing with, your particular bags, grab another set of bags and go off and play a match for the World Championship.
Well, I think that was just, I guess versatility is a word you can use, but sure. They could almost play like with anything, especially Baldwin back then, how he was just in a zone as well, too.
Yeah, James, I've always been intrigued by James's shot. He has a very unique delivery, but again, his precision is tough. He is sometimes, tough to match. You catch one of the players that's playing that way, you can, call him the GOAT, call him whatever, but you put Matt Guy up there, and the precision, the bags on, bags in, that's the only thing going to keep you in the game. I was looking back at some of my stats from yesterday. I lost when I dropped bag off the board. I go back and take everything else out, and the two bags that, went off the board that went deep or, heaven forbid, drop one short, those are what cost me the game.
Yep.
And those guys, you rarely see that at what I'm going to call the elite pro level. You have pros, you have a ton of pros, but I think there's also an elite class of pros. Those guys.
And I think those mistakes. Those are the ones that we see constantly on the broadcast. Are those elite, those ones that can shut everything else out and just focus on that board.
That's right. I think I don't know. I guess it's in the age gap too, because you see people like Matthew Creekkiller that came up, in this last Open.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to affect him at all. He comes up, he runs through his bracket, makes it to the championship, and just he looked totally effortless. That match for him just looked effortless. He had bag control. Everything he wanted to do, it looked like it was doing.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is what amazes me is like every year you see there's 3 or 4 guys that come out that you haven't really heard a lot in the spotlight that all of a sudden it's just they're here. And I take like
Yeah,
from the Northeast, you got Jacob Trzynski from the Northeast. I first seen
right,
him when he double dipped Adam Hisner in a tournament up in Maine, and it's like, who is this kid, right?
right,
And even the way Tony Smith came on the thing, then you got Jordan Power in the Michigan area. There's
right.
just so many guys that all of a sudden it's just I'm here, and it's I don't know it's fun to see.
Yeah, there are. And there's so many people. You've been around it long enough. You're friends with most of them on Facebook, but you'll
Yep.
hear the buzz, in the Midwest that, hey, we have this guy and this guy. Watch out for this guy. This guy's coming. And sure enough, the very next season, he's on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Matthew Creek Killer or Krasinski. You see them all. Jordan Power. I heard of Jordan long before I ever saw him.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I was playing, but I mean, I still work inside that circle.
Yep.
So yeah, I hear all these names before they hit the scene, and when they hit, man, they hit hard. These young
Yeah,
kids are something else.
yeah, oh yeah, and but then you don't want to say the old goat, but that goat Matt guy still then takes everyone down in the end.
That's right. I mean, but you look at his work ethic.
Yep.
Matt puts in the work. He's always practicing. If he's not practicing some kind of crazy trick shot, he's just throwing bags, bags. And it takes that kind of dedication, and effort to make it happen consistently on a national stage. And he does a fantastic job at it.
Oh, yeah, I remember the guys in the start up their league in Newfoundland here. They were like, oh, like they started sending me like these Matt Guy videos. I'm like, yeah, he's kind of been around for a while, and that trick shot that he did, that was probably like the first or second take that he
Right.
did with that thing because he's just that good. But they're like
That's right.
amazed that this guy can be doing like these shots. I'm like, well, it's that, like you said, that practice beforehand before doing it that really gets it going.
Yep, it's the practice and the work ethic that just keeps them moving forward. Yeah.
So then, just to kind of go back to the ACL broadcast stuff,
Sure.
like I said, I've seen you on so many broadcasts, the high fives. Is there one moment from any of those broadcast games, or just one game that you can remember offhand that was like the one that really still kind of stands out in your mind?
You actually mentioned it earlier. The game that was in Vegas with Matt and Brett and Jamie and Trevor, where I'm sitting on the front row watching the game. Brett makes a shot. And, Trevor at that time didn't live far from me. Him and Jamie Graham actually spent a ton of time at my house. We played cornhole all night, swam in the pool. We'd jump out of the pool and throw cornhole again. I got a bunch of girls. So at that time, neither one was tied up. Trevor was. He was with his girlfriend. But we just had a bunch of people that played cornhole that stayed over here a lot. Anyway, so when Brett hit that shot, I was excited for Brett because it was a great shot. But I was kind of sad for Trevor because Trevor was not staying focused and doing what he needed to do to close the game out. And that's why Jamie, kind of paused the match there and said, hey, you got to get your head back in it.
Mm-hmm.
Then here comes the T-shirts. Hashtag it's all Trevor's fault.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Trevor off air because he's one of the guys that now he is back in the pro ranks there now. He was always my guy I like to watch. If there was a live feed or any kind of video, he was the guy he was my guy.
Yeah.
Because just his attitude, that I don't want to say it, and it's not cockiness. It was just that he knew what he could do and when he could do it.
Yeah, Trevor has tremendous ability. His ability affords him to be confident. He can come across cocky, a little bit arrogant, but he is super confident in his ability to do what he is doing. He played in our regionals a lot here, and fourth bag airmail. Trevor, what'd you shoot that for? Because I can. And that was always his answer.
Yeah.
almost always made it. So I mean, he can come off a little bit cocky, but that's just Trevor.
Yeah, I think that can be misunderstood by some people that are maybe new to the game of that, but it's just like I said, I got to watch him and some of his antics up front where, like I said, you were across the boards from me, but I think it's just it can be Trevor being Trevor. I guess
Yeah,
is what you can say.
Trevor he is a personality.
Yeah,
He personality. He's not playing. He don't put on any airs for anybody.
no,
If you don't like Trevor, you don't like Trevor. If he don't like you, he's gonna tell you.
exactly. Yeah, which is in my books is fine, but
I'm perfectly fine with that.
exactly. Yeah. So I think kind of fast forward to today's game. Is there anything that you've seen that's been you thought is the biggest change in the game from when you started up until now?
Probably the biggest change that I see is the youth coming in. I don't know the number of the people that were in the qualifier at the World Championships, but I mean, at least from what I saw, I don't know the ratio, but the bulk of them are what I would call kids, 20 and under.
Yep.
You have the Gore boys. You have, like you mentioned earlier, Tony Smith. You have Jacob Power. You have Creek Killer. You have all these young guys that come in and qualify. Then you have all these other extremely talented kids that are playing in the PDC. I just, when I first started playing, I ain't gonna say it was a bunch of old people, but I think far and away the majority of the players were, 25 and above. And I think the ratio is totally the opposite direction now. Totally the opposite.
Yeah, I'm going to look back to 2018 because that's where I had my thing down the ACL, and really the only young people you've seen there that were kind of hanging around playing on boards were the Luke Johnsons, the Matt Sorrells,
That's
Jamie
right.
Graham, Cameron Belvin.
Yep.
Were those? There wasn't a lot of them, but there was them, and now it's just completely blowing up.
They're everywhere. I'll say when I first started, if you saw what I would call a kid, if you saw a kid on the board, it was usually someone that was playing's child.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see all these kids that their parents are bringing them out specifically to play this game. And now that's what you have. You have traveling parents that are tagging along with their kids on this new cornhole ride.
Yep.
And I think it's exciting to watch. I love watching these kids play.
Really, because up till now, with this point in this year, is there any better match than Matt Guy, Alex Hicks?
Oh,
that final?
Absolutely not. Then to have the kid take down the goat.
Yeah.
Amazing. And he is amazing. I've watched him, in many matches, and Alex is a tremendous talent. That kid is talented.
Yeah, I got the word back. The Jamie Cowan got to talk with him for a bit, and he's like, he looks like he's just a small little quiet kid, but then once you get him out of that shell, he's kind of like a little bit of a prankster as well.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Again, nothing wrong with that at all.
No, nothing wrong with that, especially at his age.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and doing this here time with me. I know it's been like a quick 25 minutes here, but hopefully we'll come back on, and maybe I'll even be able to get to meet you sometime down at one of these finals if I can ever get back down to the southeast.
Oh, it's coming, brother. I promise you, it's coming.
I'm hoping my next planned trip is down in May, but I'm going to be probably not able to walk because I'll be on the infield of Charlotte Motor Speedway in May to hopefully defend my title as a Coca-Cola infield champion, which is
there you go. The only
thing I can win now is against a bunch of drunk people, but that's what I got to win. It's a win.
It's whatever it takes, right? If that's what it takes, them to get drunk for you to win, have at it. That's on them.
Well, exactly, yeah. And before I go out, just making sure to check with the sponsors here for the show. They're going across the bottom. OctaneCornhole.com. Discount code CornDog will get you 10% off, and the new Down and Back with the new logo. Everything jerseys went up earlier this week. JCCornhole.com. No discount code for Jamie yet, but if you mention my name, he might not charge you more for boards, but he's just that type of guy. And watch for him on live feeds. MyEarFun.com. Discount code CornDuck will get you 20% off of earbuds or a Bluetooth waterproof speaker. I've got to do that again. That's so hard to say. SierraHome.com. Check out Darren if you're in the Edmonton, Alberta area. Remember, a portion of what you pay for your home inspection will go to a children's cancer hospice in the Edmonton area. So that you can't go wrong with that either. And then csccornhole.com. All of your bags. Right now it's local, all Cornhole, Fire, and I think that's all he's got right now, and Octane. But more coming, getting all the American bags up here in Canada at Canadian prices. You don't have to pay that extra shipping or nothing. So you can throw all the stuff that Mr. Big Bert Blackwell will throw down in the southeast. So Bert, again, thanks for coming on. It's been it's been, like I said, a bucket list for me and a pleasure to talk to you.
Anytime, Doug. I really appreciate you having me on. It was an honor.
Okay, and make sure you're on those live feeds because we need to keep seeing you.
Gonna be there, brother. See you soon.